I've been thinking a lot lately about a movie called Revolutionary Road, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and co-starring Kate Winslet. Um, the thing about this movie, it was actually a book originally written by a guy named Richard Yates, and it was his actual debut novel, and he's since become this really prolific and famous author. As far as I know, this is the only thing I know about Richard Yates is this movie. But this movie had an amazing sense of life. So Frank was the name of Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Frank, I wrote this out a little for Facebook, but I just want to really discuss it off the cuff a little for YouTube and Instagram. Frank is this guy who has this job and he hates it. Like, he's trying to get on top. He's trying to do really well, but honestly, he hates his job. They decide through all these arguments that they're going to move to Paris. And the idea that they're going to go to Paris makes them incredibly happy. He starts actually improving his job performance. He does far better at work, and then he gets offered a promotion. So all these factors start building for them not to go to Paris, and they decide not to do it. I've been feeling a little bit like that about going on this hike from Chicago to Louisville. I'm gonna do it no matter what, though. Like, I'm just gonna do it. And I am a fan of Jordan Peterson. I know a lot of people hate him, but this book, Revolutionary Road, definitely can fall under the postmodern category, I think. And if it's not postmodern, it's at least like maybe just modern. But within the book, there's the idea that you could reshape yourself. You can buck normal social conventions. And that, like, everyone started arguing with him. Why are you going to Paris? People got angry with Frank and Alice about going to Paris because, frankly, no pun intended, they were jealous. Like, they wanted to be able to do stuff like that, but there are so many financial obligations people have to take care of. There are so many obligations that are noble to take care of. And ultimately, things like this, if you go off the deep end, could end in tragedy. They could go to Paris and be homeless. But they had savings, they had money, they did their due diligence. And they were planning on living off of an income that Kate Winslet character would make. So what happened, they decided not to go to Paris, and at that point their internal struggle manifested in real life. Their anxiety and depression over not living the life they wanted to live totally took over, and it manifested in real life consequences. And ultimately it was like the anti-Shakespeare tragedy. Anti-Shakespearian, Shakespeare was all about, these noble tragedies, these huge men falling from grace, these Shakespearean, I don't know, I know I'm rambling a little. Anyways, I'm doing this hike. It's a 420-mile hike. I'm uncertain about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. In order to support myself, I'm going to be, again, just like I did not on the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to be writing for people. And I'm going to publish a book. Of course, it's always a crapshoot if a book even sells a couple copies. Very few books sell over 10 to 20 copies. Far less sell 100 to 200 copies. But it's going to be a book for me. It's going to be a guidebook for prepping for the trail. And I think after I hike this trail, I want to go down and visit my uncle who has a book on foraging. And I want to incorporate a lot of his book into a second edition of this book. So this is going to be a recipe book. It's going to be great. It's going to be a recipe book, a guide on how to dehydrate food for long hiking. My tentative title right now is called Journey Through Hiker's Recipe Book, but I changed that just tonight. I change it like 5 times a day. Tonight, I think I'm going to dehydrate a full bag of potatoes. I got this right here. It's pretty heavy. You wouldn't want to carry this on the trail.
It's 3 pounds. 3 pounds of food. Not many calories. Potatoes aren't very calorically dense. Fats are, potatoes aren't. It's 110 calories per potato and roughly 1 potato per serving. So what if you can get this to be 1/15 the weight it is presently? Would you carry it with you for the carbs and hiking? It's probably a healthier carb. It won't hit your blood sugar like breads and pasta would, and it provide lots of good energy for hiking. So today I'm gonna, for the first time in my life, I'm gonna dehydrate some potatoes. Now, there's a lot of other ways of getting potatoes in the market, or there's a lot of easy, financially good ways of acquiring dehydrated potatoes, including buying mashed potatoes, bags of mashed potatoes that are dehydrated. But not all of those are the tastiest. I got so sick of mashed potatoes on Appalachian Trail. There's all kinds of flavors too. Like you can have bacon and cheddar flavored dehydrated mashed potatoes, but it gets pretty sickening. So most hikers, they take like ramen and dehydrated mashed potatoes. Both of those are dehydrated. You get to a water source, you filter your water, make sure your water's clean, then you rehydrate. That way you don't have to carry fully hydrated food. Instead of carrying 3 pounds, maybe you can carry like 6 ounces of potatoes and have the same caloric density. I'm not actually sure about the caloric effects of dehydration. Hopefully, I'm going to do a lot of research in this process. But here goes.